Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, this is the winners and losers video for Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. Now, traditionally in these styles of videos, post a big patch for whatever game. It's always, character specific, and we will be talking about characters. But the thing is, the patch itself was not very character specific. A lot of the big changes are universal. They basically affect everybody, right? But one of the deals is here, well, while it's a universal patch, it doesn't affect everyone universally. Some people come out much bigger winners than other people, and some people, while it benefits them, maybe they could have got just a little bit more. So let's talk about it. So when it comes to winners, I guess the first thing I gotta say is almost everybody, actually. I got Scarlet here as a great example. Scarlet, we kind of bet everything on Killer Clot being a thing, and turns out Killer Clot is a banned competitive move. We don't get to use it in, ranked environment, competitive environment, which sucks. And you think, well, Scarlet didn't really get any specific balance changes besides the universal stuff, so she couldn't have gone off too well, right? Well, wrong. No, she still makes out big time. Even though it's not like a very cool, sexy change, just the simple fact that the pokes are more advantage on hit mean things like this. So before, you down one, and all you could really get off that was jailing into 1-2-4. And 1-2-4 has its own problems, because there's a giant flawless blockable gap in the middle of there, right? And now, thanks to it being plus 14 on hit, we no longer have to rely on that. We can now use stand 4-4. Stand 4-4 comes in at 10 frames startup here, so well within the 14 frames of advantage to jail with, so that's awesome. And the thing about stand 4-4, like for Scarlet specifically, maybe Scarlet's not the best character, right? But stand 4-4 is a string other characters would kill to have. It is simply put double hits, plus 6 on block, and at a very good spacing for Scarlet to take advantage with, you like do 4-2, back 3, all that kind of stuff, right? So it works out perfectly for the spacing. And unlike many other moves that are positive on block in this game, there's no flawless block gap. If you block it, that's it, end of story. Second hit's also a mid, so if you block the first high, you have to accept the fact that it is still her turn. So if you get your down one jailed to 4-4, if it gets blocked, it's still your turn. So you get 2 turns in a row effectively. So it's an amazing string with like no downside. And if it actually connects well, then hey, awesome, right? That's like 20-25% right there, depending on what moves you have equipped. So it's just all upside. So even though she didn't get character-specific changes, I just want to use her as an example here of how just the universal changes that apply to everybody, both the poke changes and the custom variations, can help out a lot, even in lieu of character-specific changes. Even a Shao Kahn, right? I want to highlight this because Shao Kahn, he still sucks. And don't worry, you'll get your Shao Kahn rant on like the end of the video here. But even Shao Kahn still wins out thanks to the universal poke changes, right? Something as simple as this. Down 3, now plus 14. Down 3 in the stand 1 used to be a 1-frame link. Down 1 in the stand 1 didn't work because it caused like a hit reaction where they would just go under the pommel of the hammer, this part here, right? Like you'd hit down 1, go for stand 1, and it would just go over their head clear. So he actually has jailing options now. Like he can play the same game every other character in the game can play. So he's still really bad, but at least he has the baseline stuff everyone else has to play with. And other stuff like down 4 now being plus 20 on hit means you can, if we just set up here our jail. So we set him here to duck, and we're going to down 4. And we can still dash forward and have enough time to jail them with stand 1, like a stand 1-4, something like that, or stand 1-2, whatever you prefer, right? So due to having just so many more frames, he's able to do this kind of jail, which would have never been possible before. So once again, he's still not a great character, right? But just this universal change, wow, doors have opened up for him. He can now play the same basic game everyone else has. Like, there's still struggles ahead to be sure, but he's finally climbed up off the floor and is standing on his own 2 legs now. So the universal changes being the universal changes, hey, most of the people went out, and of course custom variations opens the door open for a lot of people, right? But the thing is, it opens the door more for some people rather than others, right? So that's what I want to talk about now when it comes to specific winners of the patch. So first up, when we talk about winners, I'm pretty sure, and ain't no one gonna argue, we gotta talk about some Kotal Kahn, right? So Kotal Kahn, one of the big things was, well, the quote-unquote, you'd think what would be the main variation, Ascension, right, was always handicapped by God Ray. God Ray, one of the moves that's just straight up worse than the move it replaces. The God Ray versus the regular Sunlight. Like, God Ray is only aimable. It can never be on yourself by default. It has no enhanceable properties by meter. It just basically was alright going for like when they had like basically no health left and you're looking for like that chip kill. That was about it. Versus, say, the proper base Sunlight, it's on you directly, so you get the healing benefits right away. One of the good things about it was sometimes, people are like, well, I know you're going to do Sunlight, so I'm going to try to toss a projectile your way, force a trade. And then it was like, cool, sure. I take the trade, and then I start ducking and then just heal back. And you can just go from there. And if you're looking for the chip kill, it'll just enhance it, and it has it built in too, right? It'll just automatically track the opponent and go from there. So it's already kind of doing the same thing God Ray did, on top of just having the better, property. And of course, if you're unaware, it also ups your damage while you're in the Sunlight. The fact that you can put basic totems in, say, that Ascension moveset now, getting rid of the bad Sunlight. I'm a fan of damage totem myself because, hey, 1, damage, and 2, it comes out very fast compared to some of the other totems. And it gives a lot more life to Stand 4 as well. Because Stand 4 before an Ascension didn't have much use because, like, that's not a combo, right? From the range you want to use it at. But you can do this and set up a totem. And the beauty of all this is, say the enemy blocks, you still get the special cancel. You're only -10 from this far away, which doesn't really mean anything, honestly. And you still get your totem up, which is awesome, and you can begin the stack from there. So, you get the bully, basically Stand 4 and do a totem every time regardless. And just, the startup, 13 frames is respectable for the range it is. And if they neutral duck it from the distance you want to use it at, well, then kind of whatever. Because once again, he doesn't advance. So there's no real punishable state. So it just helps the whole milieu of it all. And FYI, one totem, and I'm not saying like whole stack or anything, right? One single totem gives the basic Ascension B&B. It makes it do 40%. So, like, yeah, if you get the big stack, sure, whatever. But one totem, which is very easy to get, as we just discussed, especially with Stand 4, makes the usual B&B do like 40%. So that's pretty big. And just some other stuff like the hit changes, right? Down 4 being now +20 on hit, it automatically jails to 4-2 because 4-2 comes in 19 frames, right? So now there's just no opportunity to really get out because before you could do it, sure, but if they jumped or something, like you get the 4-2 hit, you get your follow-up, they'd land, recover, and then like you're negative and that's not going to work out for you. But yeah, so now being +20, it just makes that a lot more useful. And if you saw the previous video, being +20 basically makes down 4 into the unblockable a true combo. Like right now I'm Devora, I'm controlling everything. And if I let myself get hit by this exact setup here, there's nothing I can do. You cannot recover from the animation being -20 basically after the hit fast enough after he special cancels to get out of the quake. So this effectively is, you could say, a new combo for Kotal, and it makes down 4 in the corner a lot scarier. Now, when it comes to the universal poke changes, more advanced frames. So down 1, it's usually +13, +14, depending on how it hits. And, jail, stand 1, 2, big part of Kotal game plan, right? Because stand 1, 2 has its own sort of mix of, okay, I get it, and if it connects, then awesome, combo time. And if it doesn't connect, then all of a sudden it can tick into command grab or go 1, 2, 2, and it's just a little bit of a guessing game in that regard, right? But now, since it is extra advantage, +14, well, hey, command grab, 14 frames with 3 active frames total, and all of a sudden, well then, hey, it basically goes right into that. It's like, Zangief tick grab sort of deal, right? You get hit and then immediately got to guess grab or strike. So the only real way out of this is to immediately jump. Before you could like get a little bit of movement in or just something. So effectively now it's just go right into command grab, right? So if you didn't immediately jump after being D1, that's another option on the table besides just the usual jail stuff. So it just makes his grappling game all the stronger yet. Now there's a little bit of downside. Kotal's not the only person it affects, but since we got him, let's use him as an example here. His down 1 now has more recovery frames on whiff and on hit. So meaning some of the more classic combos, they're just more difficult. Like rush down 1 into forward 1-2, that kind of stuff here after launch used to be a basic thing. And while it's still possible, the timing is now way more strict. And also in the corner, something like this. Like it used to be like down 1, down 1, down 1, 3, 4. And like it is rough now. Like it is just very difficult to mash your D1s and still get your hits, because the extra recovery throws off all the previous timings. Because, well, when you would press a button before, now you won't get it because you're still in recovery frames, right? So now it's like kind of like play it safe, I guess. Like you still can get that, like 1 down 1. So it minimizes damage a little bit. But like as far as like everything he gets, that's more than makes up for it, right? But yeah, just one example of a little negative side to it. But overall, just due to some of the universal poke changes and the fact his variation, you can now, 1, do what you want, and 2, get rid of moves that held you back, honestly. Kotal, big time winner. Another winner I would like to talk about is Shang Tsung. So Shang Tsung, before in the old competitive variations, Warlock, Inferno Skull is like one of the deadest of the dead moves in this game. Lets you burn all your meter on your just basic projectile, right? So you can amplify it, then amplify it again. And I'm sure there's the edge case where it matters and it helped, but like, it held him down. And now, how about we just take the classic, variation for Shang Tsung one with ground sparks, and we put in Shake. And all of a sudden, wow, we got a different character basically, right? Like, who cares? You can amplify that a second time after you already burned 1 bar on it. Shake is one of the better variation moves in the game, frankly, honestly, right? It's the best of all 4 ninja variation moves by a fair bit as far as I'm concerned. And now we have a character who has a great all-around tool set. Like, maybe some people won't accuse Shang of being the best character in the game or nothing, but like, Shang can do stuff. He's got a low string starter. He's got the damage, like heavy damage string starter. He's got all sorts of fun moves that are like, S plus on block. Like, he's got one of the most complete tool sets to work with in the game. Both, in strings, basic attacks here. Corpse Drop's one of the best moves in the game, even though it got nerfed a little bit. The base move does 1% less. Who cares? It's still an amazing move. And now, all of a sudden, we get all these good tools, a strong base screen control, and now we get to add to like one of the best counter zoning moves in the game. And now anytime you think you can try to counter zone or take a turn against them at a range, well then maybe not, and also has the crushing blow attached to it as well. Like this is the kind of thing, like just this one small change for a variation where you get rid of the dead weight move. You already have a good base move set to work with. Ground Spark's also fantastic, both combo wise, screen control wise, all that kind of stuff. And you just add Shake to it, and boom, he's a brand new man. And of course, like, you don't have to go with Shake, right? You still got your 5% unblockable, cannot be stopped move. And yes, just so you know, yes, it can't kill anymore. And developers are aware of that, and they know the brutality won't work anymore. They said they'll figure it out. I don't know. It'll be fixed in time. You still got corpse drops as well, exploding corpse drops. And like, maybe it doesn't do like 40% as it used to, but that's still respectable damage. Like, you can just slot in anything you want. You still have the debuffs if you want to go that route. And the move itself, it's still like twice as fast startup as Shao Kahn's. So, hey, there you go, right? To me, the most complete version of Shang Tsung was base move set. You add the Hell Sparks here because it's just really good move, just on every possible level. And then something else that wasn't the stupid double EX skull, right? And now we get it, right? So I think Shang Tsung, maybe a couple things got tweaked downwards, sure. But they're getting tweaked downwards because he's about to live his best life. And that's exactly why it's happening. So I think Shang is on the rise. We gotta talk Kano. Kano, a character Maybe some certain variations you didn't have the exact moves you wanted, but one of the biggest things that was really affecting Kano, Kano perhaps more than any other character in the game, was held back by a lot of the weird hurtbox issues, and a lot of those have been fixed. It's literally as simple as this. A crouch blocking Sonya, right? Want to do forward 1, 2, and what would happen here is you'd get your forward 1, the 2 would go clear over her head despite the fact she's blocking, and then she could punish you with anything she wanted. And that was the matchup, right? So one of your stronger tools, because it goes into an uninterruptible +2 on block ender, right? Which is also an overhead. So either you get the hit or it's your turn, and then you can do your mash down 1 wars. And when it comes to mash down 1 wars, well, hey, it's now +15 on friggin' hit, right? So no more barely being able to jail on the stand 2. Well, it's very easy now, and you can get whatever you need off that, right? But you can also jail into another forward 1, 2. Like, you can go from there, right? So these kind of things, let alone any of the variation stuff, and boom, Kano's living his best life. Now, it isn't 100% perfect, unfortunately. Some characters here, like Geras is an example, like, it will, if you hold block the whole time, he will be forced to block it. However, he can block the first move, unblock, and the second move will whiff. Other characters, it'll just hit him in the head. So, it's not perfect, as you can see here. But considering how it was before, and like just didn't work on just about like a third of the cast, maybe a little bit more, now it's just a small handful of people. So, it's still a win in the end. And once again, you know, just general variation freedom. Like, variation 1 was usually kind of the go-to for a lot of cases. Had like the extra strings, the overhead with the kick, which is really cool. That was always handy to have. Had the command grab, which it's useful, right? It's always useful to have a command grab. That's fine. But it had like the parry, and the parry sucked, right? But now you can get rid of the parry and take something like a move that sucks people in and causes a combo okay state. And this move, wow, like the range from it's really big, has a lot of cute gimmicks, like you can suck back in knives and stuff like that, right? So all of a sudden now you just have a better version of Kano just in the end. Once again, not saying he's top tier or anything, but Kano became way, way more usable after the patch. Geras wins because Geras always wins. Jax is a big winner once again just because of just being able to play with the variations, right? And picking and choosing, and effectively enhanced outranked, which is this string starter here. Being able to use this now with other moves is a very, very big deal. Naturally, it's a 6-hit string, all punches, so they all build arm heat, which is very good. Building arm heat's part of the deal with Jax, right? More damage, more options. The string also naturally ends in and of itself in a mix-up. You have to guess either an overhead, or you have to guess a plus on block high. So, if plus on block, it's still Jax's turn. Still right in range for forward 2, right? And if you try to get cute and duck it, then there's the overhead option as well. So, builds up a lot of heat, it's really good. Has a natural 50-50 ender, really good. Also, really great for combos. So, if you want to take the launcher here, look at that. I already built up enough arm heat to get the crushing blow on my arm shots here. I got plenty of heat left over to burn the boot. So it's really good. It built up all that heat from nothing by itself in that combo. Also, if you are grab inclined here, want to take quad grab, right? It takes from quad grab. So on the basic string here, which also, by the way, if you don't do the end follow-up, still only -4, which is fine. It's great. It takes on the 3rd hit of it and the 5th hit of it. So in that string, there's multiple points where you got to guess if quad grab is coming your way. So that's kind of a big deal. So this string is just the magic maker. Like all the heat, all the damage, combo opportunities, and all of a sudden you get a multi-layer tick grab game, guessing game in here to boot. Like, it's crazy. And of course, the string naturally concludes itself. So if you try to jump out, say on the 3rd hit of the tick grab, then you immediately just get hit by the 4th hit if you didn't. And then you can combo out from there. And same deal. And then basically, if you're letting the whole combo rock as is, you can now say you have to guess between high plus frames, an overhead, or a command grab for the final hit. So, man, you're just not really winning out, are you, right? So this lets Jax be a blender in a way he never really could be before. So just off enhanced, outranked, and the opportunities it gives other moves to be special, just that and that alone, man, Jax wins out big time. And just some honorable mentions here real quick, because we've belabored it in other videos, but yeah, Noob Saibot being able to pick the variations he wants, that alone already just made him such a better character, right? Plus, yo, look at this new skin he got if you did the pre-order. This looks really cool. I love this skin, right? Raiden benefits a lot from custom variations and just stuff like getting a new plus on block string in back 1-4. That's really cool and really helpful. Katana, if you want to have like a lot of combos. Yeah, they nerfed up Fan a little bit, but now in competitive play, you can have way crazier combos you never could before. Shiva, that crazy move where she like gets all her hands filled with fire and can do a million things with them. Boom, you can use that in competitive play now, right? Lots of stuff. And Sub-Zero, hey, Sub-Zero's laughing, right? Sub-Zero's becoming the best version of himself as well. So just so many people just winning out, right? So when it comes to losers, well, let's talk about it. Well, one of the biggest losers I want to talk about is not necessarily a single character, but the concept of hitboxes, hurtboxes. Now, this patch fixed a lot. It did wonders for fixing a lot of those issues. We just talked about Kano, right? Kano, that really helps. But the problem is, we also show an example. It's still some examples where Kano forward 1-2 gets screwed over, right? There should be zero. This should be well in the past, well behind us. Heck, let's take a Kotal Kahn example. So, enhanced disc, this guy right here, right? Really good for making stuff like safe on block. And just like stealing turnbacks, like a 4-2-4 disc, like -1, big pushback. Awesome, right? And if you were fishing for it, well, of course, naturally, it's a combo, right? Why wouldn't it be, right? So there you go, an easy, dirty 20%. That's fine. Now, let's try that against Spawn, right? Oh, that's not a combo at all. Couldn't connect. And this is not only Spawn, by the way. I'll put a link in the video description. We still got a lot of hitbox, hurtbox issues to work with still, right? Like, kudos on the patch, absolutely. I'd say the outstanding measure of issues is fixed, but it's still not all the way done, right? These are just two examples, Kano and Kotal here, where it's a problem, but there's still some problems left to deal with. Just the simple fact that this combos on some people and doesn't combo on others, I think says it all, right? So a lot of work done in the good way. Yes, absolutely, 100%. But there's still a lot more work to be done on that front. Mortal Kombat 11, honestly, as much as I like this game, this and other NRS games have some of the worst hitbox, hurtbox interactions in fighting games, honestly. And the ship really needs to be righted on this front. Now, without some of the universal stuff here, like, this isn't really meant to be a character-specific patch, right? There's a couple small character-specific changes, but overall it was meant to be a systems-level patch, right? So I shouldn't have the right to, like, really point out a specific character, but we're going to point out a very specific character. Once again, not a patch specifically for the characters. I'm sure, and I'm very hopeful, there will be a patch in the hopefully near future once all the fallout from custom variations, all that really goes through, and we find out what's really busted and what's not, and patch around that accordingly. That will get a proper balance patch for a character. But man, Shao Kahn. Like, I myself, I'm in many different fighting game communities, right? That's just the nature of my job, I guess. And even people who don't know anything about Mortal Kombat 11 know Shao Kahn is a joke in this game. It's progressed to that point. This game's been out for like, what, a year and a half? Something like that? At this point, Shao Kahn, awful at launch, awful now. He's the worst character in the game, except maybe Robocop, I guess you could debate that. But regardless, he is a laughingstock even in non-NRS communities, because people know how bad he is. While this patch certainly wasn't a character balance patch overall, you could have had a lot of good faith go a long way just by fixing some of Shao Kahn's more prevalent issues. Once again, don't get me wrong, the jailing changes, they help a lot. But all they do is, one, you know, get him on the base level everyone else already can do, and two, it's universal. It wasn't meant to help out specifically him, right? And the whole slew of problems he has, they still remain. So yes, I know it's a patch not meant for specific balance, but still, it is basically the biggest patch in the game's history, especially in terms of eyes on the game. And then when you look at the character who's like considered by many to be the worst character in the game, and he's still the worst character in the game and nothing really done to rectify it, it's just bad optics. And that's my thoughts on the matter. So Mortal Kombat 11 still got a lot of life in it. I know some people think just because it says Ultimate now, the game's somehow done. It is not. There's still plenty more coming. I'll just leave it at that. And there will be more balance patches in the future, and I can only hope the next balance patch that comes truly looks at some of the people who've been suffering a long time, right? There's been other balance patches like, hey, Kotal's a good character now. Like, he's better than ever now as of this patch, right? Raiden got a lot of love too. These were characters in their time considered classically just bad characters, and they're doing all right these days, right? And now it's time for other people, like your Shao Kahns, heck, even your Devoras of the world, right? It is time for them to get some love, and I only can hope overall the next patch, they get it. Now that said, once again, this patch is a great patch. It does a lot for the game, right? But what it does a lot for the game is for people who are already well off, they're even better off yet. And for some people who are kind of, on the mid end of things, they're doing better. But for the people who are truly suffering, like your Shao Kahns, like your Devoras, like your Robocops, they're still at the bottom, and this patch didn't give them what they needed. So overall, great patch. But for MK11 to really just truly help these characters, we need still something more yet. And with all that said, my friends, I guess that's the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.